Good morning and happy December. We've got some snowfall out there, and I'm welcoming again Marcia Ellis. Thank you again for presenting a wellness session for us, yoga and wellness. And really delighted to have Marcia here. She has a graduate background in law and legal studies, as well as extensive training in yoga and wellness. And she's already done a prior session that was very well received. So thanks for being here, Marcia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Rebecca. Um, so it should already be, oops, on the screen sharing. So this,
Thanks, Karen.
so thank you so much, None of It Law Society, for having me back to your wellness lunch talks. It's been an absolute privilege to return here today. So let's all, for all of you listening, see if you can relax your shoulders, take a deep breath in. So we'll take a collective inhale and slowly exhale. So relaxing your shoulders and just coming into this space, trying to come in a nice grounded way. Maybe we'll take one more deep breath together. In through the nose, pause, and then slowly exhale and relax the shoulders. Good. So hopefully you feel a little bit more in your body, grounded, and then we can start the presentation today. My name is Marcia Ellis. My small yoga business is called Grand Valley Hatha Yoga. And today I'm presenting on yoga, self-compassion, mindfulness, and gratitude. This is a picture of the Luther Lake Conservation that we are fortunate enough to live next to. So I always love to go to that space to feel grounded. It's really awesome to be able to connect with nature. And you can connect with nature where you live as well. It's a great way to ground, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Mindfulness, grounding in nature is a great way to do that. So just as a way of introduction, I'm coming in virtually to this meeting, and I'd like to acknowledge that I am in Grand Valley, East Luther, near the Grand River, a land unceded by the Haudenosaunee peoples, the Six Nations, which includes the miles, 6 miles on either side of the Grand River. And the territory is traditionally the territory of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. And also an interesting, if you're interested in that, I know some of you who might be listening to this talk are in Indigenous law. The water walkers also travel this area, this route. So thank you, Rebecca, for reaching out to me again. This is just a brief introduction of what we're going to talk about today. So we're doing, I just had the introduction, a little bit of a land acknowledgement, and also just kind of situating myself geographically. And we're going to just review, so last time we talked about yoga for emotional balance. We talked a little bit about the science of emotions, and I just kind of wanted to review that. And we also talked about the stress cycle and the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. So we'll just review that briefly. It'll kind of ground us in our talk. And then I'd like to move on to more of the practical ways and what we can do, because I wanted to build a case for how yoga can help and all the recent scientific studies. And then I'd like to talk a little bit about gratitude, mindfulness, and self-compassion. And at the end, I'm hoping some of you can take on a gentle chair yoga practice. So that's going to include the pranayama, so breathing exercises, as well as physical poses, the asanas, and also a little mindfulness. MSC stands for mindfulness, self-compassion, meditation. It's a little bit of gratitude, and there are different ways you can do these meditations that can help you with your overall wellness and well-being. So that is just another picture and the land acknowledgement in writing. This picture was taken there as well at the conservation. Okay, and also I wanted to tell you about my mission. I never really I haven't talked about that so much, but it's kind of nice for you to kind of understand why it is I do what I do and who I am. So my mission in having Grand Valley Hatha Yoga was to be able to create a safe, serene and safe and welcoming space for my students to explore their yoga practice. So we work to create peace in our world, communities, and families by first creating peace within ourselves. So that is kind of the goal that I have of, I really believe that yoga can help a lot of people. And I think that so we can focus on building wellness in ourselves, and then that will spread out to our communities. The yoga studio where I first did my first teacher training, they said helping the world one posture at a time. And I really think that was a great thing to think about, how we can, even just a small act of improving our postures, improving our breathing, helping us with our emotional regulation, all of these things have wonderful ripple effects into our lives. So helping care for ourselves is not, I put here, self-care is not selfish. I think it's important to remember that when you make time to take care of yourself, it ripples out to those that you care for and those in your community. So it has this really wonderful ripple effect. So if you attended the other lunch wellness talks, I had the honor of sharing, and we discussed the myriad of ways and evidence-based studies, both in the fields of neuroscience and psychology, that demonstrate and give evidence to that yoga has such a positive impact on people's person's health and well-being. So you cannot pour from an empty cup. It's almost a cliche to think of that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. But if you think about it for our purposes, I think it's significant to reflect on this. And as human beings, we all experience stress, and how we care for ourselves and how we resource ourselves and the tools we equip ourselves with for our health and healing is such an important outcome for our overall health and wellness. So there are, thinking of yoga and mindfulness, gratitude, meditation, all of these things are tools that you can use to help your personal health and wellness, and then with the hopefully with the outcome of having ripple effects to our families and communities. So just remembering that taking time for self-care is not selfish, and knowing that putting energy into your health and energy into your wellness has a positive impact on those around you. So the last talk that we did talk about the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, and we talked about the body's stress response. I wanted to just come back to this because I think it's so important, and I do talk about this a lot with my yoga students as well. So if you look at the graphic, I don't think I had this graphic before, but it's a really great visual of seeing what happens, what's happening in the body. So you have, on the one side, you have the sympathetic nerves, and then you have the parasympathetic nerves. So take a second to look at that. So we spoke about when the sympathetic nervous system is activated, you have that fight or flight response, and it kind of shuts down your digestive organs, your reproductive organs. It shuts down the production of estrogen in the body as well. Your pupils are dilated, so you're letting in more light. You're kind of going into action. And the parasympathetic nervous system is where we get that rest and digest. That's kind of where we want to be. So the body's stress responses, when you feel a stressor in your body, you are activated into this fight or flight response. So endocrinologist Hans Selye first made popular the term stress in actually 1936 in Montreal. So if you're interested in looking up the history of that, it did come with some controversy. So this eventually developed into the concept of positive stress, which he termed eustress, and negative stress, de-stress, in his book, 1974. So from the first study in 1936 to his book in 1974 called The Stress Without Distress. So this idea we talked about, it was built upon, and more recently we explored some studies in our talk on the stress cycle. But just, it's interesting just to remember to bring back that initially stress, when we experience it, is a positive, we can have a positive response to stress. So we talked about how stress can be useful for performance and productivity and helping us lead to achievement. So as working professionals, I know you all have experienced stress. We all have as humans, but in particular, in your field, you know that you need a little bit of stress in order to get your work done. You know that there is that motivation and that drive. So now the level of stress, thinking of the human function curve, has to do with you can think of a curve and the function of which, so at a certain point, too much stress, they say when the level of stress starts to build and it is beyond, quote, our natural capacity of an organism, it can lead to exhaustion and burnout and fatigue. So thinking of the opposite of stress, and this is outlined in that article there, Stress Revisited, Critical Evaluation of the Concept of Stress. And what is the opposite of stress? It's relaxation, right? So that's where yoga can help us to get back to the state of relaxation. And last time we talked about how yoga can actually help you get back to the parasympathetic, get back to a state of relaxation. And I think that the more stress you have in your life, the more helpful it is to rely on these tools like yoga, mindfulness, and meditation. The more that you can rely on these tools to get back to a state of relaxation. So basically practicing relaxation and kind of understanding that relaxation is not necessarily something that happens automatically, but helping your body get into that state. Also, last time we talked about I'll just go back here for a second. We talked about the physiological response of yoga on our emotions. So I think it's helpful to think about emotional dysregulation. So last time we talked a lot about emotions and the science of emotions, and understanding that emotions are really a physiological response. So emotions are something that happens in the body. So you have this, if you have a strong emotional reaction, your body's response can be hyperarousal, and it's similar to the body's stress response. So in a highly emotional physiological state, you're not experiencing homeostasis or balance in your body, but you're experiencing like a form of stress. And we also talked about last time, there are different forms of emotion, and that some emotions are rewarding and some emotions are detrimental to the body. So that's really interesting, and it can help us with understanding how to help our body and help our wellness. Okay, so how can we, today I really wanted to focus a little bit on the how it happens, how we can achieve wellness through mindfulness and yoga. So mindfulness, the way that I teach mindfulness to kids and adults is thinking about being present in your body and being aware of what's happening around you. So last time we did a present moment awareness, and you can do what's known as the 5 senses, a mindfulness practice. So you can think of just what's going on around you. If you're sitting in kind of like a mindfulness meditation, you can use your 5 senses, what you see, what you hear, and you can use that focus attention. bringing yourself into the present moment. And I have a nice quote here. With mindfulness, we can preserve our inner joy so that we can better handle the challenges of our lives. We can create a foundation of freedom, space, and love within ourselves. And also, it can help focus attention and improve emotional regulation, build resiliency to stress, and develop a positive mindset. So when you first start practicing mindfulness, it's not, I think mindfulness gets kind of a bad rap now about being, people use it as kind of a cliche, but there is the science behind it in showing you how mindfulness can really benefit your lives. And we're going to do some practices at the end. But let's also talk about gratitude. So here's a nice infographic about someone who has listed things that you are grateful for. So gratitude, I tend to think of it more as an action, but it is considered an emotion, an emotional response. So gratitude would be a very rewarding emotional state. So in positive psychology research, gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with greater happiness. Gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions, relish good experiences, and improves their health and helps deal with adversity and build strong relationships. So if you can learn to practice gratitude, it helps you improve your health and well-being. So in my yoga classes, what we do at the beginning of class, we usually sit in a circle and we actually go around in a circle if people are comfortable sharing something they feel grateful for. And in the beginning, if people are new to the practice of yoga or if they're new to the practice of gratitude, practicing gratitude, it can feel very uncomfortable for some people. Not just for sharing, but also it can, people might feel silly in doing it. But it is a really helpful thing. I also encourage people to have a gratitude journal and just to notice things throughout their day that make them feel grateful. I often talk to younger students about acknowledging the big things and the small things. So something you feel grateful for, you might feel grateful for your family, you might feel grateful for your home, your shelter, your community. And then also I encourage people to look in their every day-to-day lives for glimmers, little things that bring you hope and joy that are related to being in the present moment. So having to do with mindfulness and being in the present moment. So for example, I often encourage people to think about flowers that they see on their walk, just little things that bring them joy, as well as the big things. So we talk about the big things we're grateful for, as well as the small things that we're grateful for. So if you want to just take a moment, you can start to think about thinking of things and people and experiences in your life that make you feel grateful and that make you feel happy and that bring you joy. And you can meditate on those things. So thinking of people you love, thinking of what you're grateful for has a direct positive impact on your health. So it's always a really nice thing to do, a really nice thing to practice. And coming to the practice of yoga with that positive emotion, that positive mindset, really makes for a good experience for people. So think about what you're grateful for. What do you feel grateful for in this day, in this time? So we were talking before we started about it being really snowy. I'm grateful that, the schools are open today. My children are in school, things like that. So just grateful for the way the things are, and there's always something to be grateful for in your situation. So the word gratitude comes from the Latin word gratia, which means grace, graciousness, gratefulness. So in some ways, gratitude encompasses all of these meanings. So it's a feeling of appreciation for what the individual receives, whether tangible or intangible. And it's about acknowledging the goodness in your life. So in this process, people are recognizing the source of that goodness lies at least partially outside of themselves. And as a result, people feel connected to their community, to nature, and even to a higher power. So in positive psychology research, gratitude is strongly and consistently linked with greater happiness and well-being. And people who use gratitude and practice gratitude feel more positive emotions, and that improves their health in dealing with adversity. So last week we talked about how emotions are rewarding and some are adverse. So this is, gratitude would be a very strong positive emotion. So there has been lots of research done on gratitude as well. So even if we just talk about one, two psychologists, Dr. Robert Edmonds and Dr. Michael McLoughlin from the University of Miami did a research on gratitude, and they found that, so there were, how many people? There were 411 people that they studied, and they had a controlled assignment of writing about early memories. So the assignment was to write and deliver a letter of gratitude to someone that they had never properly thanked. So a really interesting study if you want to look it up. And the impact was profound. So they found that the people who expressed this gratitude felt more positive towards the other people, and it helped them deal with their daily irritation. So after 10 weeks, those who wrote about gratitude were more optimistic and felt better about their lives overall. So those kind of studies can really help us understanding kind of the science behind the gratitude as well. So just knowing that it works. Okay, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, it's kind of its own field, mindfulness, self-compassion. It does have to do with neuroscience and psychology again, but I use these ideas of mindfulness, self-compassion in my yoga classes and in my yoga practice. And I want to show you in particular one book that I found very helpful. So I'm not sure if you've heard of Kristin Neff, but here's her book on fierce self-compassion. And this is an amazing resource. It's very well loved, this book. And there's another researcher, Christopher Germer, and they wrote together a workbook on mindfulness, self-compassion. And it really is a toolkit on how to understand and love yourself and stand up for yourself. So the yin and yang of self-compassion is Neff's concept of understanding. So the yin side of self-compassion is when you are showing up for yourself in a loving and kind and tender way. And the yang side of self-compassion is standing up for yourself and setting boundaries and communicating your needs. There's a really great quote that I put on this slide, and it says, in order to alleviate suffering, we have to take our needs seriously and value ourselves enough to meet them. So this is about how are you showing up for yourself in your health and wellness journey. How are you treating yourself? Are you treating yourself with kindness? The next part here, the inner critic versus a friend. So the book is really amazing. It's very nuanced. Her research is very thorough. She does talk about the inner critic that we all have that is useful in some ways for our own personal development and achieving our goals. So you have, let's say a voice inside you, yourself, that kind of guides you. But sometimes your inner critic voice sometimes it can point you in the right direction, And then other times it can lead to overwhelming shame and guilt. So, how are you speaking to yourself? Can you speak to yourself more in the way of loving kindness, how you would talk to a good friend? So she talks about that a lot, about speaking to yourself and treating yourself as you would a good friend, treating yourself with empathy. And a lot of people make the misconception that having self-compassion, being compassionate for yourself when you make mistakes, will lead to laziness. That's kind of the myth around it. And she talks a lot about that in the book, that having compassion for yourself will lead to laziness. But she talks about actually how having self-compassion, especially when you make mistakes, actually leads to greater resiliency in the future. And then just including yourself in your circle of compassion. So a lot of times, especially if you are a caregiver for people in your lives, you are giving a lot of love and empathy and care for others, but sometimes it's hard to give that love and care back to ourselves. So mindfulness, self-compassion is a really great tool that you can use in conjunction with your yoga practice. So I like to use that framework, the gratitude, the mindfulness, the self-compassion towards our body, towards ourself, as a tool in how we practice yoga. So I wanted to show you this. Oops, there should be a D. Gratitude meditation. So I wanted to show you these positive affirmations that are going to be in the gratitude meditation that we're going to try at the end of our physical asana practice. So I am worthy as I am. I am enough as I am. I love and respect myself exactly as I am. I am brave. I am safe. So these kinds of positive affirmations can be really helpful. And it doesn't mean that you don't want to improve. I think some people think of self-compassion in that way, but progress actually happens when you are compassionate for yourself. For example, if you're learning to play, let's say you're learning an instrument and you're playing an instrument and you're learning for the first time and it doesn't sound very good. And if you start kind of beating yourself up, you have a really harsh inner critic, it can lead to having a fixed mindset. So you can say like, I am not good at this instrument. This is not working. This sounds terrible. That's actually not going to help you achieve the progress that you want. So if you're learning an instrument, you're having a self-compassionate mindset. You're saying to yourself, like you would say how you would talk to a kind friend. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm trying, I'm having a growth mindset. I can learn this, I can do this. And having these kinds of positive affirmations can help with that. And doing it in a form of meditation is very helpful. Okay, so I'd like to do a physical practice. I hope all of you, if you have a yoga mat, could you just, I can't see the time. Could somebody just let me know the time that we have left?
You're still good. It's 11:37.
Okay, perfect. I wanted to make sure we had enough time to do our physical practice and our guided meditation. So if you have a yoga mat, you can place it down. If you're watching this on the recording, you can hit pause, go get yourself a yoga mat if you have a yoga strap. If you want to get like a warm herbal tea or some water, you can go and get that now. And then we'll start off also, so it's also going to be a chair yoga practice. So you can kind of situate yourself. You have your yoga mat, you can have a chair. I usually like to put the chair on top of the yoga mat and then have the yoga mat lengthwise behind the chair because we're going to be doing some balancing poses as well. So if you have a yoga strap, you can get a long strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a towel and just fold it lengthwise. And if you can, if you feel comfortable practicing barefoot, you can come to the front of your chair, place your feet on the ground, grow yourself tall through the crown of the head, shoulders back. And then we'll start by coming into the present moment and doing what we've already practiced this once before, our belly breaths. So that's bringing your hands onto your diaphragm. Breathing deeply into your diaphragm, relaxing your shoulders, growing yourself tall through the crown of the head. Just relaxing your face and relaxing your gaze. So where you place your eyes. And yoga is this combination of the pranayama, the breathing exercises, the flow of energy in the body, and also the physical asanas, the physical movements. So we're going to be doing both, and we're going to be bringing them together. So you think of the breathing, the pranayama, the movement of energy in the body, the flow of energy in the body, and the movements. So when you're kind of sitting in stillness, you're also grounding down. The soles of your feet are kind of connecting to the ground. If you need to, you can always use yoga blocks if you need, your feet need to be elevated a little bit. But you want to kind of feel the soles of your feet in the ground, maybe gently swaying forward and back, feeling your feet in the ground. Relax your shoulders. Grow yourself a little bit taller so the crown of the head is lifting. So the crown of the head, we're coming from the crown of the head. Imagine you're being pulled gently up by an invisible string, and we'll take a few more deep breaths. You can actually bring your hands to your diaphragm. And just slowly working our way up to having our exhalation slightly longer than our inhalation, which is going to help activate that parasympathetic. So coming into that rest state. And then you can relax your hands down, and then we're going to gently inhale, reach our arms up overhead, bring your palms together, and exhale, bring your hands down towards your heart center. And you can actually press your thumb into your body, growing yourself tall. You can relax your eyes. You can close your eyes if you want to, if that feels good. Inhale, reaching up, and exhale, bringing the hands down. So all of the practices, all of the movements that you're going to be trying today, if you want to try, think about just moving in ways that feel good for your body. So you inhale, you lift, creating space between the vertebrae, and then exhale, floating the hands gently down. So everything is just connecting the body with the breath. So that will help you. Moving the body helps you come into the present moment, because you have to so it's kind of a concentrated, a focused attention on the present. And these are just gentle, like sun salutation arms. And then we can do a gentle, you can bring, let's say, your left hand down on your leg, and then you can inhale, you can lift your right arm up, and then you can reach to the side gently. So stretching out your side body, and you can do the other side. So one hand can rest on your leg. Inhale, one hand can reach up and gently over. So these are just gentle side extensions. You can inhale part way, coming up, and then exhale, reaching over. Good. And then coming back to center. Inhale, both hands can lift back up, and exhale, coming back to center. Good. Let's see. If you bring your hands to the top of your knees, you can do some gentle cat and cow poses. So in the cat and cow, your head and neck are going to come forward, and then on the exhale, rounding the spine, relaxing the head down. And then you can do a few of those. I'm going to move so you can maybe see me a bit better. But you have your chair. So for the cat and cow pose, you have your chair. You can sit at the end of your chair. Your hands can be on the back of your knees. Your inhale, your head and hips looking up. Your feet are firmly planted, and on the exhale, you're rounding your back, curling backwards. So do that a few times. Inhale, your head and body lift, and then exhale. Awesome. Inhale here, and exhale. Rounding the spine and pushing back. Good. And just remember that everything is how it feels in your body. Inhale to lift, and then exhale, we can do a gentle twist. So one hand comes to the outside of your left leg, and one hand can come behind your body. You inhale to open the chest, and then exhale to gently look over your shoulder behind you. Deep breath in, and exhale, relax. Inhale, lift up, and exhale. So the one hand comes behind you, the one hand comes on your leg. You inhale to create space, and then exhale, you can gently look over your shoulder. So the exhale is so important here. So the inhale, taking in energy, and then exhale, relaxing into the twist, and maybe looking over your shoulder. Inhale, and then exhale, come back out of it. Awesome. And everything you're doing, just connecting your body with your breath. We can do our neck release. We did that last time. So your feet are firmly planted, come to the front of your chair, and then just gently move your neck from one side to the other. And a lot of these poses are poses that you can do just maybe even in the middle of your day. Relax your shoulders. So I like to do one side, the front side, and then the back. Just connecting with your body and your breath the whole time. And then you can also do cosmic head rest, which is bringing your hands together, bringing your arms to the back of your neck, gently releasing your head, kind of engaging your core gently to support your spine, and maybe looking up, and then deep breath in, and exhale, release. Deep breath in, exhale, release. Good. And then you can bring it down. Good. Awesome. So let's try to do a little bit of a sun salutation with the assistance of a chair. So the reason that we use a chair in chair yoga is to make the poses as accessible as possible. If you're comfortable getting down on your mat, going to the ground and doing a sun salutation on the ground, you feel free to do that. But I just want to show things to you in the most accessible way possible. So we started our sun salutation. You can start by sitting. Inhale, lift up. The same way we started, bring your hands back to our chest. And then you can spread your knees a little bit wider because we're going to do a forward fold. Inhale, reach up. And then when we're folding, we bring our hands down. Our elbows can come to our knees. And then if you can keep your elbows propped up on your knees, or you can release your head and neck down and take a few deep breaths here. So remembering, so this is an inversion. Your head is lower than your heart here. So you feel the blood flow to your face, to your head. And just see if you can relax down. Maybe you can touch the floor or your feet, or if you have your blocks, then you can be up a little bit higher. And then when you're ready to come back up, you're going to slowly come back up one vertebrae at a time, and your shoulders can come back, coming back up into a comfortable sitting position. Inhale, reach up, and exhale down. Good. That's kind of a sun salutation from the chair. You can do it one more time. So you're inhaling, you're reaching, you're lifting. Maybe you can do a gentle back extension where you're actually coming back, opening up your heart. Inhale, lift, and then exhale, floating forward again, coming into a nice forward fold. Good. So release your head down, deep breaths here, and then remember, as you're coming up, you can slowly come up one vertebrae at a time. And then let's bring our knees together. We'll do one more twist. Inhale, lift. Deep breath in, exhale, twisting, bringing the one hand behind you. And exhale into the twist. Inhale, lift. Remember to make your twists as gentle. They need to feel good to your body. So everything, big inhale, and exhale, maybe looking over your shoulder, and then gently release. And let's bring your knees forward and come to a standing position. And then we'll work on this soles of the feet practice. So soles of the feet grounding practice in Tadasana. So we're going to connect our feet with the mat. So just bringing yourself to the present moment, maybe rocking gently forward and back. Oh, did my computer? Are you still there? I lost the video for a second. Sorry, I lost the video for a second. Hopefully I'm back now. Okay, so coming into a standing position, which is also called Tadasana, shoulders back, palms facing forward. And then you want to have gentle knees, and you can gently also rock forward and back, just finding the ground beneath you. In the Kristen Neff's Fierce Self-Compassion book, this is one of the exercises, is the soles of the feet practice. It's coming into a grounding, it's a grounding physical position, but it's also a mentally grounding state. So you can look down at your feet, and it's also called Tadasana in yoga. That's the Sanskrit word for mountain pose. And you can spread your toes wide apart, maybe trying to see if you can spread the toes apart, and then bringing your pinky toes down, and then all your toes down one by one. Opening your chest, relaxing your shoulders, growing yourself tall through the crown of the head, and just being very present in your body. And taking a few deep breaths here. Awesome. And then we can inhale, we can reach up, the knees are soft, arms up, and then let's see if we can exhale, bending the knees, sitting back into a chair pose. This is like an invisible chair pose. Maybe lifting, this is a very active pose. If you need the assistance of the chair, you can have the back of the chair, just your fingertips touching the chair, your arms forward, and then you're just activating. And then you can inhale up, and then you can see if you can come up. Maybe you can come up onto your toes, and then slowly come down onto your heels again. And you can try the whole thing again. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, coming back into a sitting, invisible chair pose. I'll change my position slightly so you can see what I'm doing. You can exhale. And I'm actually trying to lift my toes, and I'm coming back into my heels. And then if you want, you can inhale, you can lift up, and you can practice lifting up onto your tippy toes. And again, you can also have the assistance of the chair. So lifting, and then eventually you can even try coming up into the chair position. Maybe you can lift your heels. So practice this, lifting your toes, sitting in this chair position, and then practice lifting your heels. So this will give you a little bit of a strengthening position, as well as helping you develop your mental clarity, bringing your attention to your body, to your breath. Your legs are activated. Your fingers are actually engaged, and the palm of your hands are usually, you can face them down or even towards each other. So whatever feels better. And then you can inhale back, and then inhale, you can lift up onto your toes and finding your balance on your toes. Good. So that's a nice chair position. I'll show you. So that's a very active pose. And we'll do a couple more active poses, and then we'll have our wind down with our meditation. So let's do, for another active pose, let's do a warrior two. So we have one leg forward, one leg back, warrior two. Our hips are to the side. Arms are forward. And then we're going to bend the front leg and the back leg stays straight. You can breathe here. Find your center. Breathing here, find some exhales. So you don't want your toes to be clenching. You kind of want to relax your toes, and your front leg is bent. And then if you want, you can kind of reach over with your, gently placing your elbow on your leg, opening up, and you can always try doing this as well with your chair. So if you want to hold onto the chair, beautiful. And you can also twist it to do exalted warrior, which is bringing the back hand down, palm turns facing you, and then you're kind of gently opening up. So this is a really nice, strong, empowering pose. You can use the chair, bend, step together. We'll do the other side quickly, and then we'll start winding down. So one hand is forward, the front leg is bent, the back leg is straight. Breathing here, make sure to exhale in your poses. Inhale to lift and exhale to reach. So we're connecting our body with our mind here through the tool of the breath. And then our right hand comes back. This palm is turned towards you, opening up, breathing here, coming back in warrior two again, and then straightening both legs. We can bend and step together. Awesome. Let's go back on the chair. We're going to do a forward fold. So wide-legged forward fold. Knees can be spread apart. I like to inhale to lift up, and then exhale, gently folding forward. Forward folds are very calming for the central nervous system. It's a very nice way of just teaching yourself how to relax, keeping your head down. Be mindful if you have high blood pressure, you want to make sure that you're slowly coming up. It's a little bit better when you're sitting in the chair to do these forward folds. You can also do the forward folds standing or sitting on the ground as well. But always come up nice and slowly from the base of the spine, and then your head and neck are coming up last. And let's take a few grounding breaths. Let's see if we can do, so if you had your strap, a nice thing to do, you can do this on the ground, or if you're to be very accessible, you can use the chair. So you're just sitting in your chair and you're going to do a knee hug. So you can use your strap, hold your knee in close to your body, kind of using the strength of your shoulder, pulling the knee in, and then gently release. And you can do the other side. So you can also do this if you are on your back on the mat. And you don't need to use the strap if you don't need to, but it is helpful to get that accessibility of holding the knee and bringing the knee in and massaging the digestive organs. So if you remember about the parasympathetic, just engaging that rest and digest. It's all about feeling relaxed, and yoga really helps to activate that state in the body. So it's really nice to do middle of the day if you have in the morning, middle of the day, or at night. It's all great, just getting into that rest state. We can do a little butterfly with our feet. So you can do a seated butterfly in a chair. You just bring the soles of your feet together. Be mindful of your ankles. If it doesn't feel good, obviously don't do it. But if it feels nice, you can relax your knees to either side. Your feet come together. And if it feels good, you can also lean forward. You can also do a butterfly sitting directly on the ground. And we have a few moments left just to do a little bit of this meditation. So if you want to come back to a comfortable seated position, relax your shoulders. See if you can relax your face. If you have any kind of aromatherapy, you could use this as well. It'd be a good time to use aromatherapy. If you have, if you're at home and you had a lavender eye pillow, you could lay flat on the ground or just sitting upright in your chair. So find a comfortable position, and if you're comfortable, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and take a moment for gratitude today. I'm grateful for this new day. I'm grateful for my loved ones. I'm grateful for the sun and the earth and the air that I breathe. Deep breath in. Long, slow breath out. I'm grateful for this moment of peace and relaxation. During this meditation, you can place your palms facing up if that feels good. If you're able to sit cross-legged on the ground, or maybe just sitting upright in your chair. We can use our belly breaths as an anchor to the present moment. Your breath is your anchor to this present moment. Take 3 deep breaths. I invite you to take 3 deep breaths, and you can exhale through your mouth. Relax your shoulders. Feel the relaxation flow through your body. For deep relaxation, you can try to breathe in and out through your nose for the remainder of the meditation. To start, we will begin to bring awareness by relaxing our entire body. Relax your shoulders, your forehead, and eyebrows. Breathe in and relax your shoulders down. Relax your hands and your fingertips. Feel your whole body relax and allow yourself to feel the stillness of the moment. You may notice your breath slowing down. Be an observer of your breath. If you notice your thoughts, allow them to come and go like clouds. And feel free to repeat these positive affirmations with me in your mind. I'm worthy as I am. I am enough as I am. I am strong. I am brave. I am resilient. I love myself exactly as I am. I am safe and I can express myself freely. I am authentic and aligned. Now you have the tools to relax your entire physical body and reset your mind with these positive, loving affirmations. These exercises are available to you whenever you need to connect to the stillness within. Now bringing your attention back to your breath, returning to your feelings of gratitude from the beginning, you can think about what you are grateful for. And then whenever you're ready, you can gently start to wiggle your fingers and toes, coming back into the present moment. And I thank you so much for joining me these past talks about yoga and the body and the stress cycle and mindfulness, self-compassion. I hope you continue on your wellness journeys. Thank you so much, Rebecca and Santana, for having me. And I hope you all have a great day. How did you feel after your meditation? Let me know feel free to message in the chat.